looking at the AIT Rotary heat press. Particular model is a 7360 roll-to-roll machine. Though it's called a 7360 and would tell one that is 60 inches wide, you can see the belt on this machine is 66. It'll end up being 65 inches wide or so after running for a period of time. So easily does 64-inch wide paper. That's kind of the way all the AIT heat presses work. Though they may say 60 or 72 inches, they're actually wider than that. So what you're seeing here from the side next to the control panel is, it's kind of hard to see, but there's 3 unwinds. Let me see if I can kind of zoom on that. The top one at the screen is the unwind for the heat transfer paper, so the dye sublimation paper would unwind here face down. The bottom front unwind station is for the fabric. Fabric will come up through this S-wrap that you see here. This rotates, clicks into place. That S-wrap is there to tension the fabric and to lighten or straighten out any wrinkles in the fabric. The very back unwind that you see is for blotting tissue. Blotting tissue is used in the event that the print is wider than the fabric, and or the fabric has holes in it that the dye sublimation ink can go through and get on the belt. All the controls are on the right side of the machine. Turning on in the morning is pretty easy. Hit the green button, give you a few minutes, and information appears. What you'll have on the control panel that you can see here, yes, is a set temperature. So 204, all the machines are in Celsius, and then actual temperature of the drum itself. There's a speed here, so that's in meters per minute, but you can see the video or understand how to set the dwell time using a stopwatch on your iPhone app. And then this machine also, all of these machines have a counter, so a yardage or a meter counter that you can start or stop and see how much material you've ran. Otherwise, you've got standard controls with the ability to adjust the speed. The slow speed adjustment is during feed up or thread up of the machine. You can push this and it slows the machine down to creeper speed, you can see, and that allows you to feed in paper and fabric and transfer paper. And then when you're finished, of course, you just push it again and take it out. Reverse, so if something happens, you want to refeed or restart again, you push the reverse button. It will actually turn the drum backwards. While we're on that subject, the other reversing method is to pull the emergency lanyard. When you do that, not only does it stop momentarily the belt, but then turns the machine in reverse in the event you had a misfeed. So now taking a look at the rewind systems on the 7300 series and 7400 series roll-to-roll machines. Got the machine activated, and you can see this top rewind bar. Overall look here. So what's going to happen is on this rewind that you see, this is used transfer paper. So we'll come down here to the exit point where fabric is going to come out. Fabric will come out of this zone, stay with the belt, follow the belt around. Meanwhile, we're going to force transfer or use transfer paper to go around this idler roll. That will ensure that the split here between the printed fabric and the used transfer paper is immediate and virtually 180 degrees. The used transfer paper is going to come around this idler bar and rewind on this position. You can see all of these unwinds and rewinds are outfitted with what we call an easy grip piece goods bar. So this is outfitted with a surgical rubber cord, and this goes inside a 3-inch ID core, and then once the core spins initially on the bar, the cord locks it into place. We really like this because we've got a 3-inch ID mandrel inside the tube, and we can avoid any flexing of the cardboard tube on the rewind and unwind, which is important when we're setting a lot of tension. So, just a quick repeat. Used dye sublimation print paper winds here. Meanwhile, the fabric has followed the belt in this backward position. So now I'll come around to the back of the machine, and we have 2 more rewinds. You can see one at the top, one at the bottom. So the one at the top is designed to rewind the printed fabric. So we're going to have printed fabric now. It's going to wind in that position, and then down here will be blotting tissue. So we're winding blotting tissue there in the event that you're going to use blotting tissue in the event that your print is wider than your fabric, and or your fabric has holes in it like jersey fabric where you would initially blow ink through the fabric. We need blotting tissue to pick that up, keep it off this nice clean belt. Okay, back to the front. This machine doesn't have all the labels on it as of yet, but in this position you have on-off for the rewind, so it's a nice illuminated switch, and the variable speed pot. This is actually a key to the cabinet that we've got hanging on the e-stop, and the main start and stop. So now we're going to look at some of the features and componentry of the AIT Rotary heat press. This is applicable towards the 7300 series and 7400 series. So I'm going to zoom in here, hopefully, and you can see the drum turning, the Nomex belt, and you can see a thermocouple. I'm trying to point to it here, that is embedded in the side of the drum. Okay, all these drums are oil heated, and that's a thermocouple that you're looking at. So what we've done is gun drilled in the side of the drum a hole for the thermocouple to reside. So you're getting a measurement of surface temperature, but you don't have the thermocouple riding on the surface. That's really important because you won't get anything in between the thermocouple and the drum that would give one the wrong kind of temperature. So hold that thought for a moment on the temperature control, and I'm going to show you now the edge belt, or the belt tracking system. Here, this is a better shot. So what you can see now is we've got a reflective sensor and then a proximity switch that's looking at the edge of that belt in order to determine, is the belt in the right position, or do we need to move it left or right. Belt track, it is imperative, even if you have the perfect machine, perfect rolls, you're still going to need to track the belt in the middle, because when you introduce fabric and paper, then all bets are off on belt tracking. So what we might see here is this roll here change positions. The 7300 and 7400 series machines have electric belt tracking, and that roll will shift positions in order to guide the belt back to the middle of the machine. I'm going to go around here to the side of the machine and open the control panel. If you can get a shot of this. I'm going to show you now, we're talking about belt track, and this is the electric worm gear motor that's charged with shifting the position of the tracking roller. So the one I was pointing to moments ago. When the sensor detects that the belt needs to go one way versus the other, this motor will activate. Meanwhile, inside the control cabinet here, now you can see in the far side of the picture that thermocouple rotating in the drum. So again, we've got the thermocouple in the sidewall of the drum measuring the temperature, and then the temperature information is sent via these brass rings and a set of brushes on the bottom, hard to see. That is sent, that's a commutator ring, that's sent over to the control board to do the temperature control. So one of the maintenance items is to keep these rings super clean. Slow voltage, there's no, it's not like there's 220 volt or anything going through this. It's only a milliamp signal that goes from that over to the control board. And you can see we've got everything mounted on the swinging door so that you open that up and all the electrical components and everything are located easy to get to. You're going to see a lot of Snyder controls and common name brand parts here that we use from an electronic standpoint. There's the temperature control board, etc. Motor controls. Okay, 7300, 7400 series.